Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara T Designs, and today I have a second vibrant mixed media tag to share with you. So let's jump right in. So we are going to create the background, and I am going to use the Distress number 8 tag. So they're like a manila color. So that will kind of change the colors that I'm going to use a little bit, but I still think they look really cool, so I'm okay with it. And I have my Splat Box, and I just misted it with a little bit of water on the tag. And then I brought in Kitsch Flamingo and Lost Shadow Distress Oxide inks. And I kind of just had them mix in the middle and then had them kind of be separate on each edge of the tag. There's no rhyme or reason for that. You could have them mix more, but I was a little concerned that Kitsch Flamingo would take over Lost Shadow if I wasn't a little bit careful. So I did have them kind of separate, but mingle in the middle. And I think it looks really cool where the Kitsch Flamingo kind of pulled down the edge of the tag. I thought that looked really pretty. Some of this will be covered up with my images, obviously, so it doesn't really matter how much mixing you have going on because some of it will be covered up, but I kind of like to have my background stand out while I'm playing with it, so I had a lot of fun making that. And then I did splash on a little bit of the Distress Spray stain from Lost Shadow as well, just to get a few darker spots. And then I brought in the book stencil. This is the same this is the same collection I used to make my last tag. If you guys watched that video, if not, I'll link it above and you can check it out. But I'm kind of following along with Vicky Papineau's way that she does art journals, and I just thought it'd be really fun to try it on tags because it's something that's newer to me, and I just really wanted to give it a shot. So I'm using her Create Happiness collection. So I have the Ephemera, which you see kind of sitting to the side there. This is one of her stencils, and I'm also going to use some rub-ons from that same collection. And once we kind of get into actually finishing up the tag. So I'm using the same two colors in Oxide ink, the Kitsch Flamingo and Lost Shadow, and I'm just daubering it through the stencil. It's pretty subtle, you can't really see it, but that was intentional just because I'm not going to introduce any more colors until I add the little sentiment at the end. And then I brought in, this is a stamp from Tim Holtz. It is the Reflection stamp. It's probably one of my favorite background stamps. It's just this kind of scripty font that I think looks really pretty. And I used some Archival Ink in Hickory Smoke just to bump it up a little bit and add a little more difference between the Lost Shadow and the color I was stamping in so that you would be able to tell that they were a little bit of a different color. And then I have some ephemera from that set, as I said, and I brought out the teacups. I'm in love with the teacups. I think that they're stunning. And then I also have some florals with some leaves and then this little butterfly that I'm going to add to the top. I did kind of play around with what I wanted to do in this tag, and I didn't record it because it's really just me trialing pieces back and forth until I'm happy with how it looks. And there's no wrong way to do this, especially with these ephemera packs, because I mean, Vicky provides all of these great elements. And if you're a little confused, she has some wonderful videos over on her channel using these products. So if you haven't checked Vicky Papineau out, which would like baffle me because she's probably one of the my like OGs of creating, and she's super fun to watch. But if you haven't checked her out, make sure you go and check her out because she's got a lot of really, really great inspiration on her channel, especially using these products because these are her line with Stamperia. So I kind of had them all laid out how I wanted them. And then here's the rub-ons. And you did see that I kind of curled up the butterfly wings and the leaves because I'm making tags and not an art journal, and I'm not really worried about any kind of bulk. I have no problem adding dimension here. I could have, when I was using the stencil, used some kind of like volume paste or texture paste to change it up a little bit. I didn't. I kind of thought about that after, and it would have just added another really interesting element to my tag, but there is no wrong way to do this. And I'm sorry if I still sound stuffed up. I'm still sick from, 2 weeks ago when we went to Mexico. I'm working on getting over it. I'm really close. I go back to work I'd be at work when you see this actually. But I'm back to work here because I'm actually recording this on Saturday. And I'm back to work on tomorrow, Sunday. So I'm back to work now, but I just had a lot of fun kind of playing with this and I couldn't, I'm a little bummed to go back to work because it's kind of nice to be off on vacation. It's really fun, but it has to happen eventually. So yeah, so I'm just trimmed out. There's a little white piece that hold the antenna on the butterfly. I just trimmed that off because I didn't want that white there. There's no other white on any other element in this, so I really didn't want it there. And you saw me just add some rub-ons kind of out of the top cup that'll sit behind the butterfly. It's just to kind of fill up that space and just kind of add a little more interest into the background. And then I brought in these white rub-ons. I love these. These are probably my favorite rub-ons she's done so far. And it wouldn't stick here because the oxide ink is still a little bit wet. So you do need your background to be dry to get the rub-ons to stay where you want them to be. I wasn't aware it was still a little bit wet, so I am going to lift this off, and like a little bit of it came off here. Most of it doesn't. Most of it stays on the rub-on sheet, which is fine. It just kind of added an interesting texture to where I have it there. And then I'm just going to put it up in the left top corner instead so that I can use what's left of what's on the rub-on there. So no waste here. I just kind of changed my thought process a little bit. And I wanted to say a really quick thanks to Sandra and Vivian. They placed the first 2 orders in my Etsy shop, and I just really wanted to stop quickly and say thank you so much to both of you. It's been a dream and a lot of work, and I'm finally there. But getting the first couple of sales is always the hardest, right? So thank you. Just wanted to throw that there. And if you're at all interested, I'll leave a link to my Etsy shop and the discount code I have running right now if you're interested in purchasing anything. So then I brought in, you saw a label stickler from Tim Holtz. This is the only thing that's going to be this dark. And I love it because it pops at you. You know, like being brave, I think is a very important thing. If I didn't have some bravery or some courage going on, I wouldn't have started my shop because there was a lot of self-doubt throughout the process. So I think that, you know, if you got to kind of fight for your dreams and you're going to stumble tons. And I think you just have to keep going and keep trying and it'll come eventually in the end. So this one's just really stood out to me. And I mean, you guys know if you've been with me for a minute that I love tea. Tea is my jam. Tea is my favorite thing in the world. I don't drink coffee at all. Tea is where it's at. And then I love florals and I love butterflies. So that's why Vicky's line is just really up my alley. So I had a lot of fun with this. And then I brought in this sheer ribbon and then this kind of striped white and silver ribbon, or I guess twine. I got them from Michael's here locally because that's the only big box crafty store we have with this kind of stuff. We have some small stores, but that's the big crafty store we have. So, I mean, any ribbon would work here. I just wanted some neutrals, and I thought the silver went really nicely with the Lost Shadow. And you're going to see me tinker here. If you were with me on my last video, you know that I struggle with little bows. It's kind of funny. But I did get there, and I cut a lot of it out so you didn't actually have to watch me play with that for 20 minutes trying to get it to go nicely. So I just put the sheer ribbon through the hole, and then I tied a bow around with the silver and white twine. And now that I'm kind of happy with it, I'm just going to trim off the excess. And then I have to add a little dangle. This is probably one of my favorite parts of this. I need to go and find some more because I really only have the snowflakes and the hearts from Tim Holtz. I need to go and find some more dangly things so that I can just keep hanging them off of stuff because it's so much fun. I just love this like moving piece on my tags or cards or whatever I have it on, but it just adds a little more interest. And I have a little bulb pin that I got off of Amazon. Everything I use will be linked and listed down below, and anything that I need to find alternatives for, if anything's sold out or discontinued, I always try to find something that's similar so that if you're interested in purchasing something like what I'm using, you can easily. And then, of course, we have to add a little bit of white splatter just to add a little more interest. And I think that I like splatter. I think splatter is a lot of fun. And it also, if you're worried about anything, you don't like how something looks, splatter really helps hide any errors that you might think are there. So I think that's a really good way to just add some extra interest. And then we needed some white highlights. I love white highlights. I love white splatter. I love, everything pretty much that Vicky's doing is just a lot of fun. So I kind of wanted to follow along with that as I work through these tags and through her products so that I kind of get a good feel for how I'd like to move into my art journal once I kind of get there. I am still working on a junk journal as well. That is going to come. It's just, I got a lot of stuff going on at the moment, so I have not gotten there yet, but it is in my mind. I have lots of stuff that I really want to do. I want to bring in my stickers and have those be pops of color when I build my junk journal. I think they'd be a lot of fun. And I also have this like idea for a floral layout with the letters as well. So I have a lot of ideas floating around in my head, just not a lot of time, especially since I'm going back to work tomorrow. But it will come. It just, there isn't enough hours in the day to always do all the things that I want to do, but I'll get there. And then I brought in some of the Spellbinders Opal self-adhesive gems, and I just put them along the center of the butterfly's body. The camera doesn't pick up how stunning these gems actually are in person, sadly, but they're just so pretty. And then I did have to add a couple to the centers of the flowers as well. And I think that there's like 4 or 5 different sizes of these gems, which I love. I love that variation so that you could get some interest, because the butterfly has 3 different sizes on it, and I just think that looks really pretty. So I'm going to hold it up here so you guys can check it out in all of its glory. I'd love to know what you think of this kind of, it's not really, well, it kind of is a series, I guess. This little mixed media tag series that I've kind of got going on. I'd love to hear what you think. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do new videos every Monday and Thursday. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.